Hello, everyone. I'm number one Marmaduke fan. Today, I really just want to throw some mad respect on what I consider to be one of the most interesting and fun Twitter accounts to follow, and that's Video Game Art and Tidbits. VG Art and Tidbits, everything spelled out. I've interacted with him a few times. He's got quite a nice following, considering what great content he shares. But I think he has a full collection of old Nintendo Power magazines, and he also collects some original artworks. So some of the things he shares on his Twitter timeline are scans of old ads and such, and others are original works of art he's purchased. And so I instantly started following him because ever since I was a little kid, the works of art in these magazines were somewhat mesmerizing. They were a reference point when learning how to draw, and it's fun to see someone who has that fascination, but then he goes above and beyond just being fascinated with the art and doing what I'd consider to be valuable amateur art historian research. He's not just presenting pictures, he's presenting context on what it is and where it was published and what it was for. And these are a lot of beloved franchises, and he's putting the spotlight on art and ephemera from these franchises that you might never have gotten to see even if you've been a longtime fan of some of these. So what struck me about this is a comic probably drawn by Charlie Nizawa from the Nintendo Power era of making Super Mario comics. And I read and reviewed the new edition of it, and he shared something that was not included. I don't know why on earth they wouldn't include this in that book publication. It's from the same era, but according to him, this was only published once in Nintendo Power Volume 56. So I'm going to talk about the comic a little bit. I won't spoil the ending because I want you to go check out VG Art and Tidbits Twitter yourself. Go check this out before this gets buried under 100 posts. All great stuff. This guy is not a bleep poster. He posts gold all the time. So I'm going to talk. I'm not just going to read it. I'm going to talk a bit about, since I'm interested in Charlie Nozawa's art and sort of this mix of the manga style and American cartoon styles, I'm going to talk about the composition a bit. But I'll read the first few parts just to kind of get us into it. Mario versus Wario. A party. It's an invitation to Princess Toadstool's birthday bash. And then they've got the invitation. I'll let you read that. What present is special enough for her? Aha, I know. I remember the perfect gift. So what I'll note here is that it's just a very straightforward, symmetrical composition. Mario on one side, Wario on one side. Mario on one side, Wario on one side. So this is a old hat. I've seen hundreds of comics do this bit, and it's a great way of just setting up a contrast between two characters who have similar goals or contrasting goals. There's a great one in Batman and Spider-Man where it's Batman and Talia al Ghul, both describing Ra's al Ghul, and Talia describes Ra's as a visionary, and Batman describes Ra's as a terrorist. So nothing too avant-garde or experimental, but it's very straightforward and it just communicates the idea nicely. Recently, on the way to the park, oh look, it's a Samus doll. It's so cute. I love that they have an homage to another property, and it actually is a cute doll. This looks like something a girl might find adorable. And notice the yellow wash, probably in watercolor, to communicate that this is a flashback to a previous moment. And then Luigi says, "Hurry, princess, we'll miss the bus." And then she says, "Bye-bye, Samus." So both Mario and Wario recall Princess Peach being interested in the doll. Oh, did they call her Princess Toadstool back then? I bet they did. Yeah, Princess Toadstool. I'm never going to get that straightened out when they changed the names of some of these characters in the early 90s. Because I grew up when she was Princess Toadstool and not Princess Peach, but I've had Peach cemented in my head since then. Okay, so the reason I want to talk about this is just how well set up the gag is at the end. And again, I'm not going to spoil the gag because I want you to go check out that VG Art and Tidbits Twitter. But this is the setup page. Sold out, what do you mean? And Turtle guy, what do they call him? Koopa. So Koopa at the desk says, "Sorry, dude, some guy, what did he look like?" "Well, he had a big black mustache like yours, and
Mario. I won't let him one-up me."
Grin, and then he sees a Jack-in-the-Box.
"Wrap it up to look just like his."
"Sure, okay. That guy also asked,
"I'm in a hurry here."
"Sheesh, two weirdos in one day."
So when I read this, I thought, okay, Mario was there and he got the Samus doll, and he probably thought Mario was weird because he's got that big mustache. Who knows, right? And so then you go on, and okay, I think I've made my point. Let me just flip through this to see if there's any more artistic points I want to make. So something that struck me as weird the first time I read it is a setup for a very well timed gag. So I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. I want you to go read it. Uh, Apart from that, it's very straightforward. I guess that's the point. This isn't avant-garde or experimental comic art. It's very straightforward comic art with a very heavy horizontal emphasis. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Very simple cartoon characters, very simple expressions. Probably simple watercolor, I'm guessing, color washes. And these are very effective comics. And I laughed out loud at the ending. Do go check it out. Yeah, I'm not saying you couldn't just Google this and find it yourself, but video game art and tidbits is one of the good things about Twitter, which sometimes can feel like a garbage site because he's constantly finding unique and interesting things to share with people. Oh, I just want to look at some of these great expressions. This is one of Charlie Nozawa's strengths, is these comedic expressions that he has. So go check it out. I'm not going to, my motto is Suma Spoiler, but I'm not going to spoil the ending of this comic because you need to go follow VG Art and Tidbits if you haven't already. Oh, I was going to make some bigger point. Oh, that VG Art and Tidbits, what he's doing is he's really just sort of he has an enthusiastic love of video games, and this just comes across in the time he takes doing this stuff. So I appreciate that. So if you have a hobby you're passionate about, one thing to do is go online and argue with a bunch of people about how your hobby's better than their hobby, and another thing to do is to just let your exuberance for your hobby kind of just show in the kinds of things you share and talk about. And I just admire how VG Art and Tidbits puts a little extra effort into telling us where these things come from and why they exist. So it's not just a picture floating on his timeline. A very laudable effort. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Let's give you the date to make it easier for you to find these tweets, right? Okay, there we go. It's 22nd of March, 2018. So if I barely understand how to use Twitter, but if you use the advanced search settings to search his timeline on the 22nd of March, 2018, I'm sure you'll be able to find this comic and read it. Love you guys, and I'll catch you later.